This is Archaeodeath, an exploration in the archaeology of death and memory, past and present, with Professor Howard Williams.
Welcome, Archaeodeathlings, to another Archaeodeath interview with another exciting special guest from across the Atlantic. It's Jacob. I'm Professor Howard Williams. Jacob, please introduce yourself for our viewers and listeners.
I'm Jacob. I do like a TikTok account. It's called JC Debunking. I see like a bunch of random like videos on TikTok where people put conspiracies. Like generally it's like archaeology stuff, like history. And then what I do is I usually like download their videos and then just like pretty much every single thing that I say, I try to like find evidence either what supports it or what doesn't. Like it, try to debunk. That's my name is JC Debunking. That's what I do. I debunk.
I love it
because
I really love it. And you're relatively new to TikTok, am I right?
Yeah, I actually I started doing this, I want to say in like January. Like it was like basically mid-January, and I guess I'm already at 5,000 followers, but like I put in a lot of effort to my shit, so
It's a lot of work, isn't it? And let's not make a joke about this. It looks like you do it really casually and very professionally, but all that back and forth. I have been doing one or two a month, and it's so hard work. Whichever app you use, whether you're doing it on your phone or on a computer, it's fiddly. It takes time, and you have to get things right, or everyone's on your case within seconds of, oh well, that's wrong. So and you're fair as well. So I don't think it's just about putting people down. You're actually really, I think really balanced about how you go about it, but it's a lot of work.
some people disagree. Some people say that I'm not very fair, especially like, I don't know, I got those recent videos where the guy was calling me out for using pseudoarchaeology, but like other than that,
attested. Yeah, I'm sorry. God, yeah.
I actually don't remember what I was about to say, so.
No, sorry, I cut across. I was just jumping in to defend you with the point that the term pseudo-archaeology is literally in every archaeological textbook, dictionary. It's not a problematic word. They're just whining about it because you've got them. You're using the correct terminology, and they just want to whine about it. So I don't see the problem with that. Yeah.
Well, it's mainly like it seems it's mainly just the question of this guy thinks that like theories. He says that everything is just theories, like every single thing. A lot of the things that I talk about, and it's like stuff about like believing something or not. It's like you can have your own theory, you can have your own belief. I mean, some people have beliefs that are just wrong. I feel like I feel like I have to call. I feel like I have to call them out. I think the video that he like mainly talked about was something that somebody sent me. It wasn't something that like I saw it and I was like, I really got to go down on this. Somebody sent me it. I just did it. I'll stand by the fact that it's pseudoarchaeology. I'm gonna double down on that. But like, that's just that's what's been going on recently. But yeah, people like my stuff a lot. I guess like I've definitely gained a following over the past 2 or 3 months.
And you've got a really cool formula, because I think there are people that do this back and forth, but I only do it occasionally. I'm very eclectic. And I think what you do really well is you've got your formula and you're sticking to it. And I think that's really, that's what I think people really want on places like TikTok. I think you're doing the right thing to stick with that style. And yeah, I think responding to people is really good. But honestly, it's a substance, as you rightly said in your own videos. There's no substance to it. But even by doing that, even if it's I'm much more, I don't know, I just go, oh, that's rubbish, I won't even respond to that. But, I think it is worth the time. I think you're right. You made the right call there, because people will hear that regardless. Other people, it's just all theories, guys. It's all free. We should be free to think. Stop trying to stop me thinking. No, you're not telling anyone not to think anything. You're just explaining why they're talking bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. Well, ooh, train of thought just ended.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
What?
Can I ask you about what you found the most common type of nonsense that you've come across? What's the most, is it are you finding sort of misinformation across the board on TikTok, or are you finding it in specific areas? What's the biggest nonsense that you found?
Well, obviously, if you ask the biggest nonsense, I got to talk about Tartaria, which is like.
I should.
No,
okay,
it's good. Should we skip over that one for now?
let's come back to that then.
Let's come. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Give
right
us a
now,
sense of the range. What's the range of stuff? So the Tartarian stuff we're going to come back to, but what other kind of stuff have you been combating?
It seems that like the surface stuff is really like Ancient Apocalypse Graham Hancock type things, where they try to say, it's too precise, or it's too hard to build, therefore the people there didn't build it, and that usually comes into like people trying to insert their own like things on why they think they made it, and like it all kind of depends on the person. I'd say like the base thing is like we don't know. It's like saying that like that's kind of the base, and then it goes down lower to like frequency stuff, which is my god, I hate seeing that over and over again. Okay, so what I do have an anecdote on frequency shit. When this first semester this past year, I did a project in my science class. I'm like a musician, so I have a bunch of like speakers and like shit like that. So I play a lot of music. I have a bass amp right next to me, and my idea was like, how far can I make like a small object move with like the right frequency and stuff like that? It was the test of like, doubling or like making frequencies higher or lower, trying to see if because I've noticed that like if you play a certain frequency on it, especially on a bass amp, like the room will vibrate and stuff like that. Yeah. So I was trying to get like things to vibrate and move, see how far I could do it. Literally nothing. I couldn't get anything to move with like no matter what like things that I used. Like I started to realize that like I even did more research into it, and I had to put it on my project because I failed at it. I had to put on like, here's how much force is required to move something with certain frequencies, and it was insane. I was like, I would never be able to do this. So the frequency moving shit to me is so ridiculous.
Now we do have like there are ethnographic traditions of people around the world who will tap rocks, and that the people are aware of the acoustics of their environment. They have, and they can use it for hunting, and they can use it for perception. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about people who believe that in the past whole monuments were moved by some kind of weird sound science or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. And what can you say to that other than it's just utterly impractical? And
what I usually say is like, it would take so much more energy to do that than to actually just pick it up and fucking move it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me how they think that they went from the jump from like nothing to then like moving everything with super complicated frequencies. I don't know. It's not something that, it's just something that's so ridiculous that it doesn't make sense to me.
And one of the things that I find, I'm always accused of playing the person. This is a big American style. Oh, you're not playing the argument, you're playing the person. And I rarely do, but I do point out some of their style, and that's too far. Or on occasions when people are doing really extreme, ridiculous things at sites, like when they're physically at sites, I will comment on. But they're constantly triggered by any criticism of their ideas, and they just go, I just find it. And one of the things they always throw back at me is, "Oh, you're mocking me." Well, sorry, a lot of this stuff is funny as anything. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't police the fact I find you ridiculous, not you, them ridiculous. I find, but you seem to balance it. I think you do the best job. You laugh at it, but you're also saying, but here's the reason why, and it's a difficult balance, because whatever, particularly with a title, people go, oh, he's a professor, he's obviously just mocking us, he doesn't think. And yeah, I'm sorry, I am mocking you because you literally can't pick up a book. It's not my fault that you haven't even worked out how to access some basic information about the site that you've literally traveled I don't know how many hours to be at, and yet you haven't read even the brochure or the site guide, and that does annoy me, because I think we should be talking about how they haven't bothered to do even the basic research. But equally, I get into trouble for that. Oh, you're mocking people. But what can you do? I don't know. It's a difficult balance.
I do mock people sometimes, but like I try not to in certain situations. Like there have been definitely moments in certain pseudoarchaeology videos where like people will mispronounce things. And like I won't say anything about it, because there are definitely instances where I have mispronounced things in the past. Oh, like Oh, really?
My Irish place names. I have Welsh family. I live in Wales. I'm a long-term resident, but I'm not a Welsh speaker. Sometimes I get my Welsh place names wrong, and the comment section. But that's fair, But it's when it's really comedy, though. I just have to go, what?
I understand that.
Yeah, but no. I mean, but then you don't always know people's motivations. And I've done a few pushback videos against people who are just reading out the news, and they don't know it's dumb, and they don't know it's dangerous, and they say things like, "Did you know that in this part of the UK they found the oldest this?" And I do a video back, and I'm not going to mock them because they generally don't seem to know, or they're pretending not to know. And so I do a response and go, "No, this is okay, but they've misunderstood only everything," and usually that causes no acrimony and no problems. But it's some of them they've found their grift. They're making money off this, and they don't deserve too much politeness when they're in my opinion. But I don't know. You're right not to make it about them, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I have my times where I do make it about them, but like I definitely have noticed that there's a lot of people who do read from like news articles, and the problem with news articles is that they take scientific, like something that is in a scientific journal, and make it like understandable for people who are not scientists. And then when people who aren't like they get rid of certain context elements and they make it like a lot more simple, and you lose like the nuance of it. Yeah. So with those, it definitely is bad. But with the people trying to like grift or like make money off of, oh god, like all sorts of wellness products, frequency stuff, like those people piss me off. There are certain levels where, like, especially with Candace Owens, like I don't know if you saw my video on Candace Owens,
yeah, go on, yeah.
Well, she like. I ripped into her at the end. I was like, you are a piece of shit grifter who does this, because she is like a Nazi. Like she is low-key a Holocaust denier and like a terrible person. So there are certain points where I think it is okay to rip into somebody and be mean to them. Like that, I think that's definitely something where that's okay.
And I think that's the point, is that every time you use any kind of language that describes their beliefs, you get accused of, you shouldn't call them that. But the fact remains, as long as we have our evidence in a line, then that type of terminology should be applied to people who are actually promoting. You can talk about pipeline, but when you're at the end of the pipeline and you found the destination of the pipeline, it's no longer a pipeline. You can no longer say, "Oh no, they're just leading there." They are literally the end point. If their beliefs are firm and on record as denial of the Holocaust, as this, as X, as Y, and they're also grifting off some conspiracy, then it's important to see that as part of the package, because often it is part of the package. Sometimes it's the filler between the next video, stoking hate against a minority group, and did you know also aliens, use sound frequencies to make milkshakes or whatever it may be, and people go, "Oh, what's it harm? It's not harming anyone," but it's often part of the mix, isn't it?
Yeah, those people are like, a lot of their pseudoarchaeology stuff I've noticed is very, very borderline. It's like I've thought of it before as like the gateway drug to white supremacy, where it's like they'll say all this stuff about how indigenous people weren't able to build this stuff, and they'll like, I don't know, they'll sometimes even mix like, a lot of the time it's government conspiracies about archaeology, and then they'll like soften you up to say, the government is controlled by these people, Freemasons, Jewish people, like all that kind of stuff, and they will just absolutely like do terrible things. And a lot of what I do, I feel like, is stopping people from like the starting point. The starting point is pseudoarchaeology. I feel like I'm doing that, but I also do. Sometimes I try to like, what is it? Like I try to promote creators who do like the end level, like people who do straight up anti-Semitic stuff, straight up like Nazi stuff. People who debunk that, I try to like amplify their voice with my, I guess, small audience.
But it's good, and I think it's really important work, because I think we all have to try different strategies, but I think at the end of the day, most people, you're never going to convert once they're down that route. But we all need to warn other people about what comes next and how it leads there. And I personally don't believe a lot of pseudoarchaeology is in itself beyond mostly harmless, but it's about where it leads. And most of it is just laughable and ignore it. It's just another wacko video about the folk. And I have lots of spiritual friends who believe in lots of stuff I don't, and and it's most of it is okay until they get to the point where they go, well, that's what they don't want us to know, or they. I say, who are they? Well, the globalists or something. What? What's that mean?
Dog
And you
whistles.
realise that whatever line of there's so many ways in. It's less of a pipeline, more of a trickly sort of mire of many different rivulets and pathways to get to that stuff. But yeah, it's messy, and I think it's good to push back. But I don't understand some of it, and I'm learning all the time. Even now, I'm supposed to be a professor in this subject, and there's so many nonsense ideas out there that I just haven't got the time to research. And I've learned so much from your videos. Not that I haven't heard some of it before, but there's always another angle, and I'm going, my God, I hadn't thought about the link between that and that. And so it's you never stop learning, and my specialism's in a quite narrow area, and I'm not ashamed to say that since I've been on TikTok, I've learned so much more about pseudoarchaeology, and how many different ways it connects. I don't know about do you feel you're on a learning curve, or did you know all this kind of did you already have a sense of it before you started on TikTok? I don't know.
Well, I did initially watch like Milo Rossi. Like, do you know who Milo Rossi is? Minute Man. Yeah, I was a big fan of him. Like, he's definitely my inspiration, at least for this stuff. So I would watch like his Graham Hancock like debunks and stuff like that. And right before I made this, I started watching Professor Dave. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yes, yeah.
I'm a big fan of his as well. So like I knew a bunch of the stuff, but there has definitely been more of like an eye-opening here. There's so much more bullshit than you think there is. There is like beyond just like what you see in debunking videos, beyond what you see in like even what people in like the mainstream talk about. Like I think I was talking to like my family a week ago, and I was telling them about like what I do on TikTok, and I was like, I debunk like ancient aliens, and they're like, what is ancient aliens? Like they didn't even know what that is. Like to even go into all the stuff that I do, which is like beyond ancient aliens, there's so much more than people even realize.
And I must admit, even for my periods of specialism, I haven't touched on some of the pseudoarchaeology until recently. Like Frederick, who does Digging Up Ancient Aliens podcast and TikTok, he's a Swedish archaeologist. I don't know if he's hit your radar yet, but he's well worth a follow. But he does very slow, calm debunks. He does it in a very Swedishly calm way, and he goes through and he does the Hancock stuff, but he also does Viking. We did a YouTube video together, conversation, where he forced me to watch some of the Ancient Aliens TV show, and I watched about like 5 minutes, and I felt my brain melting. It was just like, could this be this, and could this therefore mean that, and therefore could Thor have been an alien? And you're just going, and that explains why the ring forts of Harold Bluetooth are circular, because they were alien landing pads. And I realise all this stuff is recycled from the late 70s, 80s. It's not new, but I kind of, it's kind of stuff that as a student you just go, yeah, whatever. Let's look at the real evidence. But for some people, that's what they know about my period. And only now, sort of 25 years later, I'm realising, do people still going on about this? Yes, they are. So it's. That's what I mean. It's not that it's all new to me. It's more I've never had to tackle it. I've never had to work out how people join up the wild dots, and it's crazy. Yeah, but
sorry.
No, go on. No,
I was gonna say, like, when did you? I don't even know when you started doing this stuff. I think forever ago I did. The pandemic. I think that's when a lot of people started. I think I did see like one of your most popular videos before I even started doing this. Like what was it? It was the one about like the trans burial. Like that one got really I think I saw that. Like I remember going on your videos and like being sort of my most popular. And I was like, I know I sort of know who this guy is. Like I don't know, it's kind of insane that I'm here right now, but I was just wondering, I guess, when you started and like why you started, I guess.
So I started it in 2020, not to do debunking, and I've never made that a big thing because I get so much hate for it, and I in a university position, people find ways to make complaints, shall we say? So I've kept away from most of that, but some topics I feel there's a public responsibility. It's beyond my job. It's we need to be all of us doing a little bit of this, and Dr. Flint Dibble has said very similar things on his channels on YouTube. If all archaeologists or students, because or museum professionals, whatever category, or just people who are interested. If we all did a little bit of this, it would really shut down a lot of the nonsense. But we give them the space, and I can't spend day and night combating why everyone else is wrong. But I think some topics are, there are. This is the line. This is the no. I'm not having this. And so I feel occasionally I've done that. So my videos are very hit and miss. Most of my videos don't get any views because they're just me going around a museum or. But I feel that a strand of what I do has to be. We all have to do a bit of this stuff. So that's how I started in 2020, and I started doing more opinionated videos about 2022, I think. But and I have American friends who correct me when I get the American terminology wrong, because I'm learning new terms all the time as we're evolving in the internet language of specific terms that mean things that I never thought meant things, and I mean, oh, that's what they mean. But no, that's all cool, and I make mistakes, and but most of the time I'm on the right track, and I think it's important stuff to keep going at, really.
That's true. Now you say you make mistakes. I have noticed a few mistakes that I've made in the past in some of my videos. Like, I've definitely had people point out certain things. There's one main one that I did. Didn't you say like you want me to like write down like a few like pseudoarchaeology topics that I want to talk about? Yeah. So I think the first one that I have written down here is no, it's the second one. So the Great Wall of China. There's a conspiracy about how like the arrow slits are facing the wrong way on the Wall of China. So like they say that it wasn't used for defense. How would they use it for defense if the arrow slit was facing the wrong way? What if they were defending something else? It's connected to Tartaria. I'm not going to go into that too much.
Oh, but right. Okay.
I made this video on it, and I think I had shown my professor, like my Imperial Chinese history professor, about this, and she had told me something about it, and like I for some reason got some shit mixed up, and I said it's because of the Warring States period, which was way before that part of the Great Wall of China was built. So that was wrong. That was completely like I shouldn't have said that. So I think now what I'm going to do is in my Imperial Chinese history class, I have to write a paper about like a specific time or a specific thing. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to write a paper on the stuff that I got on that thing that I got wrong.
Well, I'll give the honest one I got wrong. I mean, there's many ones I get wrong, but I try to do follow-up videos, but I don't do a hang-ringing. I sometimes do comedy apology videos, but so I do like the one the biggest burial mound from prehistoric Europe is Silbury Hill, says the sign at Silbury Hill in Wiltshire, and the excavation report says it, and the excavator still claims it, but the Italians have found new georadar on a massive, what they thought was natural hill in the Po Valley of North Italy, and it proves to be a massive Bronze Age funerary monument of some kind, and it's got a church on top of it and a castle on top of it. It's so big. And so when I did a video a couple of years ago going, I'm at Silbury Hill, the biggest burial mound in Europe, and someone in the comments said, no, it's not. Have you seen the new peer-reviewed study in wherever it was? And I went, no. So I went back that evening, read it, and went, oh, yeah. And I don't really care. I mean, it's like kind of measuring sizes of mound. But, I thought it was a really interesting educational follow-up to go, okay, and here's a new research that the Italians are claiming to have the biggest, and does it matter? And I made a joke about, well, it may be taller, but it's not wider, and I sort of made all these silly jokes about it.
That's pretty good.
At the end of the day, we all learn from the mistake, and because I wasn't wrong, because literally everyone in the British archaeological community uses that term, Silbury Hill, the biggest prehistoric mound, and yet that's very British, isn't it? Be like, oh yeah, we've got, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter so much as it shows how these titles, earliest, greatest, biggest, are part of the problem. These kind of claims to be better at things, to be first at things, and it's a bit based on modern nation states or modern ethnic areas or something. It's all very competitive, but we learn. So I mean, we get things wrong, but because we're not spending 15 weeks researching this, we have to do it quickly. I mean, do you find that you do the videos quickly after you've learned about? I mean, are you doing it as a rapid process, or are you picking things up from weeks before, or how do you do it?
Oh, it's a several hour process that I do basically every night. It's I go through like videos on my TikTok like throughout the day, and then I find some random video that like, or people will like mention me and stuff, and then I'll download it and I'll go through it and I'll do a shit ton of like, it's a lot of research.
Yeah.
It is exhausting. I don't get enough like as much sleep as I do now as I used to, like at all. Like it is. I last night stayed up till 2 a.m. I should have gone to sleep at like 1. I've stayed up till 4:30 a.m. some days doing this stuff. Like the thing is, like I try not to get things wrong, and there have been like times where I have, obviously. But like the research that I do is really exhausting. But I'm learning a lot, which is good.
I must admit, I do a lot of things in one take and think I'm really clever, and then I get to the next video. Well, I'm saying sometimes, right, and then other times, okay. What happens is I'm going, right, I'm in the mood, I'm going to do it, and it just everything goes wrong, and I'm like 18, 20 takes in, and I'm going, why can't I say that word? You know, and it's my point is you can't predict it. Like sometimes I'll just pick up I'll record it in one go. Yeah, that's good enough. Out it goes. Well, I edit it and put captions and stuff on. Other times I just I'm there for hours just going, I can't say these words. Why can't I can't relax until I finish this, but I can't get it's crazy. It's so unpredictable is the point. It just eats up time, doesn't it?
It's for me it's like it's so much. Like every single like little clip that you see is like at least 20 takes. Like just me sitting there like trying to say something over and over again, messing up a word, and I'll just like yell out, like I'll swear and just be like, fuck, like I can't do this. Sometimes I just like say screw it, all right, like I'm just gonna use that take. Like even if I said something wrong, I'm just gonna use it, and a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll just put a little piece of text right below that I meant this. But
that's actually that I've had to resort to that a couple of times because I tried to I sort of dub it over and it just sounds rubbish. Like I meant this, comes with another voice, but no, it's just put it on the text. I was going to say, what other really crazy things were you going to tell us about then that you've come across that you think people wouldn't have heard of or perhaps don't really quite get? So the ancient aliens,
Oh, well, I had like out of place artifacts. I'm sure you know what that is, like OOP arts.
So is this like sort of how could this have got there? How did they have a stainless steel? Well, they didn't type thing, but is that really sort of out of place? Okay, so I often don't understand how they even thought of that. Is this where they're like sedimentary concretions around it, so it has to be billions of years old when it's
exactly that.
Right, yeah. So that I went to Mother Shipton's cave recently in Yorkshire, which is one of those petrifying caves. So they, within a couple of years, they hang objects there because it's got an association with a witch. They put up with little witches' dolls, and they all become concrete, and they sell them for $80, to the tourists. But I mean, it's an amazing thing. But if you don't understand geological processes, which I don't really.
Well, it's a lot of people who think that like they find things and they think that they're really, really old, or it's just fake stuff. Like that's a lot of what it is. I don't really understand geology that well. Like I'm not a big geology guy. I know Milo Rossi loves geology, but like I can't. A lot of the stuff that I have to talk about involves it, and I have to just go through these like different things about here's how this formed and here's how that formed. I'm just looking at it like, what is this talking about? Like, what is that? Like, I don't understand any of these words. So
you don't need to, but at least you're on the right lines as opposed to the nonsense idea they've got up, which is how could that happen? And then it must be aliens, or it must be
I try to what I usually do is I just read off whatever it says, like verbatim, like I don't try to paraphrase it at all. But it's a lot of people who just like don't do research. Like my most popular video, did you see the I want to know guy?
Oh God, my word! And he just go, I want to know how they do this or something, and you just go,
exactly. He's like, I want to know how they did this, and then pretty much every single one, he's like, with no power tools. Like, how did they do this and that? And like, I pretty much every single one, I was like, here's how they did it, and I got a lot of like publicity off of that. But like, I think that guy actually did just respond to like he commented under my video the other day, and he said congrats on 1,000. That That was it. I mean, usually the people that do that kind of stuff, like if you answer them, they'll be like, "Good job." Like they won't like push back against it, even though they're just gonna continue doing their bullshit. Like it's not gonna stop no matter what you say.
I think some of it's passive aggressive. Some of it's they just don't care, and I don't think they know. They must know. A lot of them are not stupid. They're just doing the. I'm going to ask. I mean, it'd be so easy. I keep thinking, if I was a different, if I had no, I could just do video. I would know every grift. I could do every haunted building. I've done a couple of parody going around old buildings. Guys, did you hear that, guys? Guys, what was that noise? Oh, it was a pigeon, but I can't keep it up, but I could so easily just do a most haunted archaeo death series or an equivalent where I just ask, how could that possibly be? But I know that I just wouldn't feel right in myself. I just feel that I'd be fooling people even by joking about it. And I think that's the problem.
That's true. There's this guy, I think I debunked him early on. He was this dude who did parodies, but he didn't really make it obvious. Like I think I debunked him when I looked at his other videos, and they were like, okay, these are obviously parodies, because they were all AI videos, and he would just talk about them. But like, even if you do that stuff, even if you joke about it, people are gonna believe you. Like people aren't gonna realize that you're joking about this kind of stuff. Like I don't know. You have to tread lightly with those subjects.
Yeah, but there was a really good. I hadn't seen him for ages, but he was a British Muslim guy, and he'd do some really good parodies, but they were too good. And I followed him for a while and found them funny. And I thought, look, I respect what you're doing. I think it's funny, but people aren't clever enough for you. We're not. The world isn't clever enough for you. You're too good for us. It was things like, did you know that giants did this? And it would be like really obviously bad, and yet I was going, but and you can see people in the comments going, it's a line. No, I believe this. Do you think who's joking anymore? It's into the territory of, and like as the Rome isn't real. You probably weren't around with the Rome wasn't real. Woman who spent.
I think people have told me about her, but I haven't. I never really saw her stuff.
She did a hit piece video on me because she was big on Twitter in the day, and then because I didn't even mention it. I said you'll hear people say that there wasn't a Roman Empire, and what this is this. And she did this horrible hit piece on me saying, this is the professor who does this, this, and this, based on what someone said on Twitter. And, it's just like, and I didn't even respond. But, somewhere there's an 8-minute long, like, debunk of everything I've ever done. And you think it's really sad, but these people are dangerous because they're not funny. I thought she was joking, but she wasn't joking. So you can't tell. There's the people that are joking and it's fun, but then there are people who are, you think they're joking and they're deadly serious, and not only are they deadly serious, they will hunt you down in some sinister way. So they're not well. They're not well is my only determination. So yeah, you got to be careful.
I'm always kind of worried about that. I'm always like, every single video that I make sure to tag the people in the videos, like so they can see that I've made something about them. But I'm always kind of worried that like this person is just gonna like rip into me. Like they're just gonna make a response and they're like, this guy's a idiot, like this, like they're gonna just I kind of also worry that they're gonna destroy what I'm saying, that like what I'm saying is going to be completely wrong and they're gonna make me look like the loser, but that usually doesn't happen. I've gotten only like, I think I've only ever gotten one response video from somebody who actually like disagreed with anything that I said, like really in the video itself. But people don't really do that, and it kind of makes me think like maybe my shit is so good that like people just can't find stuff that's wrong with me. But I mean, that's not true. There's definitely stuff that I've said that's wrong.
But you got the sound frequency people, you got the ancient objects out of place people, you got the why is this the way it is people. You've also, let's just deal with it. Let's deal with Tartaria. I don't understand. God. I just don't understand it because at least I don't respect ancient aliens and ancient Atlantis shit, but at least I understand where it comes from in the 19th century. I also understand where Tartarian ideas come from, old maps and but I don't understand how people how can they believe this? Anyway, hit me with it. Try and explain it to me, please, because I generally don't, I'm not doing to my audience. I generally don't grasp it.
It's really like, I think it's people who partially want to be in like, I know that ancient aliens people do this too. They want to be in like a video game. or like a movie. They want the world to be like National Treasure, where it's like there's some mystery that we have to like solve or something like that. But also, it doesn't make complete sense to me either, because like how do they connect it to the World's Fairs and like neoclassical architecture if it's in Asia? Like how, I don't know how they make that connection. I'm sure somebody has, but like I try to put myself in their shoes. I think it's a lot of people who see things that they don't understand, like architecture. They see a lot of different things that were built at different times, and they don't understand it. It's not that they don't like exactly want to understand it. It's that it just doesn't click with them. And
it's like folklore, like where can I suggest this and see if you think this is right or not? I generally haven't. This isn't a thesis. It's just a response to what you said. Is it like there's a natural stone on a hillside, and someone has built a little shepherd's, hut in the 19th century around it, and they just go, well, I don't understand that stone, and that is clearly together. They're clearly associated. Maybe it was a giant's house. Let's just make a story. The devil maybe put it there. Is it really that level? They're just looking at it and going, I don't understand it. Let's make up a story to explain it. Or is it more?
You're giving them too much credit. It's worse than that. It's like it's not.
Okay.
It's farther down. Like it's because it's not something that like they think that's what it is. Well, no, I can understand how you would give them more like you have this idea that people are smarter. And it's sometimes people just really aren't. They have this idea that these buildings aren't actually lost, but they think that like when people came to America, they discovered these buildings. That these buildings were discovered and then things. Is that okay? I might be getting wrong what you're saying. Are you saying that like that we built our city around it, and that like?
No, I wasn't. No, this is wilder than I thought. Okay, right.
So they think that like every single neoclassical building, at least, is like built by this civilization that got wiped out by I believe it's a mud flood. There's like more stuff.
Oh yeah, right, the mud flood. Yeah, right.
There's like then we came here to America and discovered, and there are like so many different like sects of this conspiracy theory. It's not like it's not just that. There's a lot of people who think that like there's the pretendians, I guess, who like think that black people originated in America. That's kind of how it is. Rather than being brought over by like the transatlantic slave trade during the 1800s. And I know that's like a hard topic to talk about. There's a lot of people who in my I've gotten a few people in my comments who said like racist shit about that, and like I try to like at the start of my videos, at the start of at least one of them, I came out and I was like, if you're gonna be racist, fuck off. To me it's more about like saying that Native American people like aren't valid. They usually like hate on Native American people a lot. Like it's usually like they usually say like they came here and they're Siberians, they're like all this stuff. It's a lot of it is really racist in different reasons.
They're trying to undermine indigenous land rights and traditions by saying they weren't the first.
Exactly.
Other fiction. So it's like it fits in with many white supremacists originating just hyperdiffusion.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I thought it was something different, but it's basically a different version of the same thing. Then, in many ways,
it's like that, but it's also like I think that these people, in a way, with like their stuff about like the stuff about like the neoclassical buildings, are somehow a little less racist with that. Because like what I see a lot of people do is like they'll question things that aren't made by white people. They'll question things like Kailasa Temple and stuff like that, and then they won't question Colosseum. They won't question like Parthenon and stuff like that. But these fucking Tartaria people, everything. It doesn't matter. Like I swear to God, I saw like do you know I don't even know if do you know what Gary, Indiana is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, it might not have been Gary, Indiana, but these people were going around to like different abandoned buildings. There were brick buildings, very simple buildings. What?
Yeah, I think I've come across this. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Very like
baseline, not really even like impressive stuff. And they're like, we didn't build this. Like, it doesn't, to some people, it doesn't even matter. Every single old building is Tartaria. It, like, they will ascribe literally everything. Like, it doesn't matter.
And so it's at one level, it's kind of a fundamentalist, non-discriminatory, because everything is made. So it's like, it's kind of, it's just like, it's like Ancient Aliens isn't radical enough. We've got to create something else. Or
It's so
is this ancient civilization also alien inspired? Is there a cleared line, or is it all blur in together?
No, it's all white people. It's generally like that's what it comes from. Like it's a Russian white supremacist conspiracy theory, and it's at least that's what a lot of it is. There's a lot of people who have like taken it and twisted it in other ways, but like it's generally like most. I'd say that most of it is, because like I have gotten, at least the ones that I've seen, there's like there's comments under it that are like Genghis Khan was white and like, you know, all this like nonsense. It's it's hard to understand, and to be honest, there are people that like I have met who actually believe in this stuff. Like people who genuinely like believe that Tartaria was a big thing. And I got like on my Tartaria video that I did, I probably got the most hate that I've ever gotten in a video. Like everybody was saying some shit. They were calling me Jewish. They were calling me a CIA agent. They were calling me. You even saw the one where the guy called me Native American. Like it doesn't matter really what you say, because I'd say that they have like 2 or 3 main responses to what you say. The first one is to just discredit you by like things that they don't like. Like I got a lot of stuff also about being trans. A lot of people thought I was trans. I'm not. I'm like a cisgender man. And the other one is, now explain this. Like it's a pivot. It's like
So explain why it took an extra 5 minutes for my McDonald's order to arrive, or whatever, you know. And you go, what? You know, but it's not that random. But you know, it is something that's completely not connected to what they've said.
It's that's like the thing that they use. That's kind of, I think they're like not how they beat people, but how they get people to like give up. Where they're just like. They're just like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it's like, you do so much research just explaining everything, and it's like it's a battle of attrition. I actually had a guy who like was DMing me, and he was like, go on live with me, go on a live stream with me, like we'll debate this. And like he kept doing the thing where he was asking me to explain different things. I didn't actually go on the live stream, but he was like asking me to do all this bullshit. And I was like, I'm not going to go on because you're just going to ask things, and it's going to take me like 10 or 20 minutes to research it. And then nobody's going to want to watch that. And then all you're going to do is just keep doing this over and over again. It doesn't matter how many things I explain. Like, you're just going to keep believing in this bullshit.
Exactly.
Like, they don't ever back down.
They'll exhaust you, and they'll always try and set you up. So I've never done that. I won't debate with creationists. I won't debate with, not because I don't, you know, it's not like I don't, they'd have to pay me a lot of, I mean, you know, it's money and time. I choose what I want to talk about when I want to talk about it. I don't want to have to go, but yeah, also they think that's you're scared now. You're scared, you know, it's like, no, I'm not scared. I just haven't got the time and life. I've just had someone accuse me of, you just shut down your X account, which proves you're wrong. And I went, no, it doesn't. It proves that I haven't used my X account for a year and a half, and I heard that people were dumping lots of shit on my account, so I went there and found loads of neo-Nazis just leaving stuff, so I just blocked it because that proves it. It proves I'm not a neo-Nazi. That's as good as it can go, you know. But you can't debate these people. You know, there's no point in responding. So it's not a win for them. But it's funny how they think, you know, look how you're walking away. You know, it's like if this was done in the street, it'd be just like, okay, whatever, man. You just stay at this bus station talking to yourself. I'm going away. Look at him, there he goes. Look at him walking with his legs. You know, as if that's somehow a win for them. You know, it's totally irrational. So yeah, I think you're right not to debate some of these characters. Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever do like a debate with my kind of. I don't really respect like live debate, to be totally honest. Like I think that the thing that a lot of people in live debates do is they'll say something that's like a lie, but since you're debating them in real time, you can't like you can't just go and sit there for about like 5 minutes and fact check them. Like that's not. It's just not something that I agree with, and like I've seen a lot of debates with like even like Professor Dave and like flat earthers, and like it doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't. Nobody ever like gets anything out of it. I sometimes argue with like my friends, but other than that, no, it doesn't go anywhere.
But when you're arguing with your friends, you're not going to be soundbited into a 30-second, gotcha of yourself or them. Answer me this then. Answer me this then. Oh, you hesitated. Well, and it's not fair. It's not fair to anyone, either. Yeah. So I agree with you. And do you feel, so this is I don't know if this is the last question, but one of the questions I wanted to get to really, and this is, maybe it's too early for you to reflect yet, because, when I say early, I'm not being patronizing. I mean, you've only started doing this. I don't want to, but do you feel it makes a difference? Because this is, a lot of people say, yeah, your stuff makes a difference, but you can never concretely know. And I suppose, so there's always people who say everything you do is rubbish and worthless in life. That's true. I'm not trying to cast out, but what do you feel that people are obviously interested in your debunks, and if there wasn't this material, you wouldn't need to do it. So, it's clearly you're filling a need, but do you feel people remember and learn, or do you feel it's just like a constant cycle of here we go again? I don't know. What do you feel about it?
Well, I do it for like a few reasons. Well, one, it's entertaining. It's entertaining from both me and an audience. People like it. It's fun to watch. But like, I feel like I do a few things. The main thing for me is like people who are in the middle, like people who are like, I don't know if I want to believe like people on the scholarly side, or if I don't want to know if I want to believe like conspiracy theories. Like those people are really what I'm trying to like reach. Because if you can reach someone before like they've decided, like you'll have made a difference. And I have gotten a few. I've gotten like one response from a guy where he was like, I'm a little bit of a theorist myself, but goddamn, like this guy is like taking these things apart. Like I think that as long as I make at least a little bit of a difference, and it's just fun for me. I like it. Like regardless of whether or not people are gonna, turn to the other side, regardless of whether or not it's making such a huge difference. Like I enjoy doing it. Maybe one day it'll like turn out for me good, where like I'll have something to use as like something for like a career, something like that. That'd be really nice. But right now I don't know if I'm doing much. I just like doing what I do, I guess.
Well, I would obviously strongly support you and celebrate your achievement so far, and hope you keep doing it. But it should only be if it's fun, and only if you feel it has some merit. I mean, everyone keeps talking about the equivalent of monetizing or of quantifying success. Everyone's obsessed with that. You can't. All I can tell you is that the few times in the last 6 years where I've gone, okay, folks, look, this is becoming exhausting because I'm getting so much abuse. Is this worth doing? And you get a load of comments going, well, I haven't commented on any of your videos, but I've been watching this, and this, and this, and I love the way you did it. And you sort of go, oh, I didn't even know who you are, but yeah. And then I realized there are other academics who are watching my stuff who never comment, and I know who they are, but they're completely anonymous. I go, hang on, how do you know that? Like, oh, and sometimes, it's not about working out who they are. My point is people do see it and recognize it, but they don't always say. And it becomes the loud, weird voices going, well, I wasn't going to believe in it, but now I am because you put me off your science, and you go, oh, shut up. You just,
they're already going that way anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're just saying something to goad me. But at the end of the day, you'll never have a full sense. But I think there are a lot of people who appreciate it, because not everyone's, even if they're a well-trained civil engineer or doctor or nurse or, physical trainer or whatever the hell people do in life, truck drivers, they won't have all the time to work through all this stuff, and it'll be on their phone. And so I think it's important, and I wish more people did a little bit of it, but I think having a whole channel dedicated to it is pretty important, I think. And I hope that you go from strength to strength. I want to see you at least at 200,000 by the end of the year.
200,000 bigger than you did?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I just like, I grow like a different video. I definitely thought my video today was gonna pop the fuck off, but I guess not. I mean, like it just happens. I've noticed that it's so random with whatever you make, like that goes up. But
Well, I've got been accused of chasing drama by people who are beyond the pale of any civilized behaviour. And you think, well, actually, most of the time I'm refusing to do comments on things. I'm sort of turning down like 20 out of 21 videos. I go, no, I can't face that, because all I'll get accused of is X or Y, and I can't say about that because then I'll be accused of being this. And so I just like go, and then you can't win. And then you do a video I did a video about the Picts that went absolutely viral because everyone wants to know about the Picts. And I thought everyone knows about the Pictish people and Pictish society. They don't. And you can't predict what will go wild. What will get people interested in. Sometimes you can go, yeah, if I talk about ancient aliens, people are going to want to watch it. But I don't know. I can't face the comment section, to be honest.
I've gotten a lot of hate. I don't know. I can sort of face it. I did start off making. I literally one of my first videos was a debunk of an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory because it was easy. That stuff just pisses me off, and I got so much hate. I was like, I can't do this shit. I just stopped doing it. I just went on to something else. But there's some people who do. Massively respect that. But making stuff on the internet. I honestly don't know much about the Picts, to be honest with you.
No.
I'm not from England. I think that I think that you probably know much more about them because you're there. In America, we don't know shit.
No. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is that I've learned a lot about North American archaeology and history, and likewise, everyone's in a different part of the world, and we're learning all the time. And an Australian archaeologist I follow who tells me about sites, I go, oh, I kind of read that in a textbook, but I've never really taken it further. And thank you, that's really useful. So we're all learning. I'm a learner as well as a sort of producer of this stuff and a creator.
Do you do actual archaeological research, right?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
But what I rarely do is talk about my actual research because firstly, it's boring to me when I'm in the middle of doing it. And the idea that I go, guys, I've just discovered this amazing thing, because I'm the fear of people just going, well, whatever, do you realise I found a third site with this particular kind of pottery? No one's going to give a shit,
But I do. Shit about that. I always like your videos.
But you know what I mean? Thank you. But my point is, I don't talk about things that I feel a bit vulnerable because they're too close to me. So I like to talk about things that are a little. I teach my students, but the students will get the conventional view. But I'll do a video that throws in some, either crazy ideas that other people have, or actually something I've thought up for the first time, but I'm going to share it online and see what people say. So I do that kind of thing. But yeah, I do have my core research, but I don't actually present on it. And and the disappointment though, Jacob, is when I actually go to some of the sites I've actually dug, and I go, guys, this field which you can't really see properly, is amazing because in it is this thing, and everyone just goes, yeah, whatever. For me, it's because real archaeology is not all massive temples. It's not all golden, crystal skulls or golden goblets. It's just fields and trees and yeah.
I remember the very first thing in Intro to Archaeology that the teacher said. She was like, the thing that we mostly do is we dig up trash. It's just things that people throw away.
Exactly.
It would probably, a lot of the stuff that archaeologists do would probably be pretty boring to a lay person, but I like it.
It's very interesting.
I've just suddenly remembered, I've never talked to anyone about this, but my first viral video was simply pointing out by a riverside near me where someone had scattered a loved one's ashes. And I did the video not to be gratuitous you couldn't tell where it was. So, obviously there was lots of layers of anonymity, but I said, guys, this is someone's cremated human remains. And the number of people who found that really interesting and genuinely, it's a bit sensational, but most people just went, oh, right. Because yes, people will have lost people and maybe they've been involved in scattering ashes, but a lot of people I found just generally don't know what a human body looks like after a modern two-stage cremation and crushing. And so I wasn't trying to be gratuitous. I was generally saying, when you're out and about in the British landscape, in beauty spots at ancient monuments, you will come across this peppering of white, grey material, and often it will be a pet or a human loved one, and I thought, because I deal with death and burial, I thought it's important to remind people of how these topics are in our landscape. So I was quite pleased that my first viral video was on a topic that had a social utility and educational utility for not just simply about the distant past, but about people's, walks with their dogs or their walks or their jog, and I think that's the type of thing that connects people. I can't always, it's not a formula you can replicate easily, because I don't want to just go around be the guy that videos people's dead people, loved ones' ashes. That would be more than weird, but just doing it once or twice in 6 years, that's enough. That's what I mean. It's those one-off topics you think actually people need to know about this because no one else is doing it, and I think that's where I know that's not the only thing I've done, but you know what I mean. I think I'm quite proud of that there's little topics that no one else has, at least, well, if they have done it, they haven't had a viral video out of it, and then you think, well, and then people are asking the questions, the follow-up questions, and and that's where I feel I've been one of the best places, is where you can use the comment section, knock out the weirdos, but then you can have really good conversations with people about issues, and they can share information. Currently I've got my comments on lockdown because of nutters, but targeting me. But usually I love the comment section because people ask questions. You go, well, what about this? What about that? Do you know about this site? And I go no, and I have to do a bit of research, but it's really constructive. But it's not always predictable what benefit people get from these videos, but I think you're on the right track though by saying that it's got to be fun, and it's got to be it's got to be something that you enjoy and your audience are getting some benefit from, and just keep on going and see what happens. But I think 200,000 in a year you'll be a celeb.
A year.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know. I try to make daily stuff and just see where that goes. But I honestly didn't know that your comments were, well, I'm friends with you on TikTok, so I'm able to comment.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, but I've locked them for outsiders because I was just flooded with these people leaving horrible, obnoxious, same things you've been talking about. But I don't want to go over it. But it's a bit difficult. But
like, you know what, those fucking people, they are so mean, and like they will just grasp at straws for anything. Like, I don't know, calling anybody that. Doesn't even matter if you're Jewish at all. They'll call you Jewish.
No, exactly. Yeah. And they're not very big. They're not many numbers, but they know how to just take up space, and they are just like background noise that I've turned it off for the moment. I'll bring it back on when I'm good and ready. It upsets me because of the volume of it. Sorry.
Well, also I just said it'll blow over.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about just keeping on trucking and doing your thing, isn't it? So, have you got any sort of final sort of thoughts of what you think? People should know about pseudoarchaeology, because it is pseudoarchaeology. It's people claiming it is. That's what it means. It means claiming archaeological knowledge and information and methods when it's anything but. That's what it is. That's why we call it pseudo, fake archaeology or bad archaeology. Yeah.
That's what I said about pseudoscience. I don't know. I just kind of I don't like it. I just find it annoying for people to just constantly bash things that archaeologists do, like their usual talking points, like they're not doing enough, or I don't know. I'd also like to say that even though it can seem like a minuscule problem of just people on the internet, it's like a real thing. My tattoo artist was arguing about this with me while I was getting a tattoo once, and I didn't think he would be into it. I've met people online who are into that kind of stuff. I've just met random people in real life. If you don't think that this is a problem, I would say that you're wrong. I don't know. I think this is a problem. That's all I have to say, I guess.
And it's not some it's people without a college education type thing, snobby thing. I've met some very intelligent people who believe some really ridiculous nonsense and
really?
about the past. And you're in a meeting with in a social event, and suddenly someone who's 80 is going, "I saw this program and it was about aliens," and you go, "Oh my god." And you go, you're not like a 12-year-old going, I heard this. It's just someone in their senior years who's been digesting this for years, and you just so it affects everyone, doesn't it? Yeah, it's everywhere.
It does. It is a problem. That's what I have to say.
Well, we're fighting the good fight, and thank you so much for having this chat with me. And
for sure, this is great. Thank you for having me.
For all your work, and we'll put a link in the description to your TikTok, and I hope you all go and follow who watches this Jacob's account. And it's not only educational, but it's fun, and I love the humor as well you bring to it, because you have to be. You can't always be, smiley about it, but it is so funny to take the piss out of these.
Well, a lot of people have said I'm very. A lot of the stuff I make is very funny. I'm like I kind of throw out shit that I'll make references. That's a lot of what I do. But
thank you very much, and we shall hopefully talk again.
Follow ArchaeoDeath on YouTube, TikTok, WordPress, and a host of other social media.